Well, a shocking account now about how Bergdahl was what he was up to while being held by the Taliban. New documents obtained by Fox News show that he declared himself a warrior for Islam, even taking part in AK-47 target practice with his captors and playing soccer with them. Former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Tom Dupree joins us with reaction from our D.C. Bureau this morning. Tom, nice to see you this morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Now, if they go the route of court-martial and they end up charging Bergdahl, what would be the next step?
Well, I think what they could do is they could bring charges against him on a number of things. I think the obvious one would be desertion, abandonment of his post, putting his fellow soldiers in danger through his conduct. I think right now they're in a position where they're trying to gather the facts, gather the intelligence, find out exactly what happened and how he came to become in the Taliban's custody. Arguably, these are things that they should have been looking at long before we ever dreamed of doing this prisoner swap, but it's on the table now, and as you noted, every day more questions, new questions, disturbing questions are emerging.
What sort of a sentence would he be looking at if they do find him guilty of this? Some are saying, look, he's served 5 years in captivity with the Taliban. That's enough punishment. Others are saying that's not enough. What do you say?
Right. You know, I think it depends on the facts. If it turns out that he knowingly, voluntarily deserted his post, I think that's a very serious offense. And as a prosecutor, I probably would be inclined to pursue that. If it turns out that the circumstances were different and that there was no willful, deliberate desertion or dereliction of duty, then maybe you could take into account that, in a sense, he's already served time by being in the Taliban's custody. But I think it's a difficult question. And at this point, I'm not sure we've gotten the full facts from the administration. And now we're starting to hear the truth start to leak out from people who served with him or who have other inside information as to what exactly happened that night.
Weren't there multiple investigations already conducted on him as to why he may have deserted or not deserted? And wouldn't it be possible that we already have all this information anyway?
It's possible we have it. You know, the administration has not exactly been forthcoming with the facts. I think that the facts as they originally posited them were that this guy was going to be a returning war hero. He'd be showered with garlands and the like. And, well, it turns out reality doesn't quite match that picture. He doesn't appear to be a war hero, and there have been very serious questions raised about exactly what was going on.
I mean, how difficult is it, though, to prove that he was a deserter or that he was somehow aligned with them? Because I mean, none of us have been in this position before, but imagine trying to survive under these conditions, to try to pretend to be friends with them. Are those some of the questions on the table at this hour?
I would imagine so. There's no question that, at least in some of these situations, we've learned that there's the so-called Stockholm syndrome, where people either forge an affinity with their captors, either because that's the way the human mind works or because they think it's the best way to actually get released. But I think that he was in custody for a long time, and I suspect that we have intelligence assets over there who can give us some insight into exactly what was going on, whether or not this apparent conversion was legitimate, whether it was a ploy. Obviously, they can question him now. They can talk with people who knew him before. They can talk with people who might have interacted with him during his 5 years in custody and really try to piece this mosaic together so we can get a better picture of exactly what happened and whether charges would be appropriate. And
whether or not he would receive POW pay, which how much is that actually per year for someone who's been a POW, and is he entitled to that?
Well, it can be very significant, and it can extend long into the future. As to whether he's entitled to it, I think it depends on all the things we were talking about the circumstances that caused him to be apprehended by the Taliban, and whether or not we essentially want to forgive anything that may have happened, or whether we apply the law to him.
Of course, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid this week saying this just affirms another reason why Guantanamo Bay is a mess and why we should close the thing. Of course, the president has campaigned to close Guantanamo Bay. Do you think we're one step closer to having that become a reality?
Well, he's starting to empty it out. I don't think this is quite the right way to do it. I mean, the problem for the president, honestly, is that he came into office saying that we're going to close Guantanamo. It's going to be gone by the time my administration leaves. And now we're about, 2+ years away from that point in time. And there are still approximately 150 people or more who are detained in Guantanamo. So I don't think the closure of Guantanamo is going to happen anytime soon. The president is clearly trying to whittle down the numbers. I think he's doing it in the wrong way. I think that that the 5 people who are being released in exchange for Bergdahl are extremely dangerous individuals, and I don't think that we have sufficient guarantees that these individuals, who are not, exotic, fun people you'd like to bring to a cocktail party, I mean, these are hardened jihadist Taliban terrorists, they should not be released, and we don't have any means of ensuring that within the next year or once their year-time period of detention or supervision is up, that they're not going to return to the battlefield and attack U.S. interests.
Well said. Tom Dupree, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.